Here at Costellos Travel Cafe today, talking about the Multnomah County budget. Commissioner Jeff Cogen.
Hello.
So Jeff, tell us about the county budget and what's happening with it now.
Well, first thing to know is it's very grim. These are tough times and we're cutting the budget in many ways. Our total budget is $42 million below what we needed to keep services going. And we've dealt with that partially through new revenues. I brought forward a new motor vehicle rental tax that is raising about $5 million. And then partly through our employees voluntarily not taking any raises. And that's true for most of our unions and also for all of our management. And that's getting us about another $15 million. At the end of the day, we still have about $25 million worth of budget cuts. And so what we've been doing, we've just had a series of community budget forums where people have been expressing their feelings about what's really important, and unfortunately everything's really important. So what we have to do now is make the difficult decisions about which things to fund and which things can't get funded.
So we know that the cuts are going to be severe across the board, but what are some of the things that you're fighting for to preserve?
Well, I want to make sure that we preserve services for our most vulnerable people, so that we're trying to minimize cuts to mental health programs and to alcohol and drug treatment programs. I'm looking to add back funding for a program called 211, which is a referral service for people who are really in need of services. They can call 211 and they help connect them. And because the need is so great, and because so many people who've never been in need before are now in need, it's really important to have an easy way for them to connect into the system to get help.
So are there any other things we're doing differently for needy people in these times?
Well, one thing we're doing that we've just passed today is our new emergency farm out at the Troutdale Edgefield Farm. We have some surplus county property, and what we decided to do was partner with a group of community organizations to use it as a way to grow food to donate to the food bank. We have a huge hunger problem in this community right now, and the food bank's having trouble getting enough food to feed people. And so we're taking 2 acres of this farm, and we're partnering with Hands On Greater Portland and a number of other community organizations. The McMinimans and PGE have helped fund it, and we're going to collectively bring volunteers together and grow food, and we think we're going to have enough food to meet the weekly needs for 500 people just for this volunteer project.
That's great. So among the cuts, tell us about what item worries you the most that's currently being cut in the budget.
Well, what worries me the most actually is not what's currently being cut in the budget, but what we're going to be finding out about soon. Because we're passing our budget, and then a month later, the state passes their budget. And although the state hasn't figured out exactly where they're going to be cutting and where they're not going to be cutting, they're facing a $4 billion shortfall. So after we make our $40 million worth of cuts, there's going to be $4 billion worth of cuts from the state that are going to trickle down to us. And they're talking about really dramatic things, massive reductions in key services for people with mental illness. We're going to probably face the elimination of all dental services for poor people in the whole community. They're looking at cutting alcohol and drug treatment program, potentially eliminating all residential drug treatment. Public safety is being cut back, community justice, parole and probation. There's so many things that are facing serious cuts that it's hard to really even identify a single one. And of course, that doesn't even talk about education, which isn't Multnomah County's responsibility, but here in this community, we have to care about that deeply. And, these are cuts that are so bad that I'm really hoping the legislature looks to Multnomah County for inspiration and doesn't deal with their whole budget deficit just by cutting. They also need to look at getting new revenues to preserve some of these vital programs.
Indeed. So in terms of timelines, when is the county budget adopted, and then when do we find out about those state cuts you mentioned?
Well, the county budget is going to be adopted next Thursday, June 4th. We've just had our final public budget hearing, although people can come to the June 4th meeting and weigh in. And so by June 4th in the afternoon, if all goes well, our budget will be done. As far as the state, they need to get done by the end of June because the fiscal year begins in July, but I don't know exactly when they'll be done.
And what about the Kenton Library and the St. John's Farmers Market? Will those projects be affected in this budget?
No, the good news is St. John's Farmers Market is a community partnership that we pulled together that doesn't require any county general funds. So the partnership is still intact. We've helped make it happen, but they'll be surviving even with the budget cuts. And then the Kenton Library was funded by the good people of Multnomah County in the last library levy. So even though we're facing budget cuts, the levy provides the dollars to keep that. So the Farmers Market in St. John's will open this summer in July, and the Kenton Library branch will open this winter in January.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Anything else on this beautiful sunny afternoon in District 2 on Northeast Broadway?
No, these are tough times, but, we can still appreciate the beauty of a summer afternoon.
Thanks.